What options do you have when you're in the middle of a baking project and suddenly find out that you are out of fresh eggs?
Or what if you're just unable to get fresh eggs? We've got some ideas for you.
Hi, I'm Kylene.
And I'm Jonathan, and we are the Provident Preppers.
Whether you are trying to avoid a last-minute trip to the grocery store, or if you are living off of your survival food supply, you're going to need to know the secret to replacing fresh eggs in your recipe with shelf-stable ingredients that you have on your pantry shelf. In this video, we're going to review 25 different shelf-stable ingredients that you can use to replace fresh eggs.
Stay with us to the end of this video. We will provide you with a link for this PDF document that you can keep in your cookbook so you have it handy when that occasion arises.
It's important to understand the function that eggs play in baking. They can be in a recipe to thicken it, to add texture, or to moisten it. A lot of times the eggs are in a recipe to bind the other ingredients together and to prevent it from being crumbly. Eggs improve the taste, and they help with leavening or raising, making the final product light and fluffy. Before you choose which egg substitute to use, it's important to think, what purpose does the egg in this recipe serve? Is it to bind? Is it to leaven or help to raise and make it light and fluffy? Or is it just to add moisture? Egg substitutes that bind include ingredients such as ground chia seeds, ground flax seeds, arrowroot powder, tapioca flour, cornstarch, gelatin, and potato starch. Egg substitutes that leaven include commercial egg replacements, baking powder, baking soda, vinegar, and lemon juice. They all help to make a lighter, fluffier final product. And egg substitutes that moisten include ingredients such as applesauce, pumpkin puree, banana, mashed potatoes, fruit juice, cooking oil, and milk. Now that you understand the purpose that eggs have in your recipe, let's go ahead and talk about the shelf-stable egg replacements that you can use to replace the eggs in your favorite recipes. The first are powdered eggs. Depending on which powdered eggs you're using, the general recipe is 2 tablespoons of dry egg powder mixed in with 2 tablespoons of warm water. Fruit puree is a fantastic way to add moisture to the recipe in place of eggs. Generally, to replace 1 whole egg, you need about 1/4 cup of fruit puree. Now we're talking all about shelf-stable ingredients here, and you'll notice that I do have some fresh fruit in this example. Part of it was just because I didn't have anything to represent a banana, but a banana is a fantastic whole egg replacer. You can use little jars of baby food, or you may want to use dehydrated banana chips and reconstitute them and use them as a replacement for eggs in your recipe. Note that depending on which fruit puree you use, it can change the taste of the final product. Unsweetened applesauce is a really good one that just kind of blends in. Potato flakes. To replace 1 egg, mix 2 tablespoons potato flakes with 3 tablespoons of warm water. Creamy peanut butter works better to replace an egg than crunchy unless you're looking for that nutty flavor. But to replace 1 whole egg, just use 3 tablespoons of nut butter. Flax seeds are a great way to add nutrition as well as replacing the eggs. 1 tablespoon of ground flax seeds mixed into 3 tablespoons of warm water and let set for 5 or 10 minutes or so makes a really nice egg replacer. Great at binding. Chia seeds are also a fantastic egg replacement. When I use flax seeds or chia seeds, I grind them in a coffee grinder just before use. To use chia seeds as an egg replacement, 1 tablespoon ground chia seeds mixed with 3 tablespoons of warm water, and you'll want to let these set for 10 or 15 minutes so that they really gel up well. This is so exciting! Aquafaba is just a fun name for the liquid that you pour off of canned beans. You can also make your own aquafaba by cooking dry beans and using that liquid that is produced from cooking the dry beans. But 1 egg equals 3 tablespoons of aquafaba. And I know you're thinking, what? But this is a really cool thing. This is that same liquid in the previous picture, just whipped up. It makes a fantastic egg replacement. If you go to the post that this video was created from, you will see that there is a recipe for chocolate mousse that uses only whipped aquafaba, sugar, and melted chocolate. It is amazing. This is definitely a secret that you're going to want to remember. Commercial egg replacers are designed specifically to replace eggs in your recipe. Often, commercial egg replacers are used due to dietary restrictions or allergies that individuals may have. You can make a homemade egg replacer very inexpensively with these simple shelf-stable ingredients. 2.5 cups of potato starch, 1.5 cups of tapioca starch, 2/3 cup baking powder, and 1/3 cup baking soda. Mix them all together and store them in an airtight container, and you can use them just as you would the commercial egg substitutes. Cooking oil. 1 whole egg can be replaced with 1.5 tablespoons cooking oil, 1.5 tablespoons of water, and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. If you're just using cooking oil to add moisture in your recipe, you can just use 1/4 cup of cooking oil to replace that egg. If there are too many eggs in the recipe, your recipe might get a little bit greasy. If the recipe calls for eggs to help with leavening, baking powder is a really good substitute. 1 whole egg can be replaced using 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 2 teaspoons water, and 1 teaspoon of oil. You can also replace a whole egg by using a different recipe that calls for 1.5 teaspoons baking powder, 1 tablespoon water, and 1 tablespoon of vinegar. Either one of these will work well. One note about your baking powder is it does not have an indefinite shelf life. It will store for a long time. The best way to see if your baking powder is still viable is to mix a teaspoon in a cup of boiling water. As you can see on the left, I have 14-year-old baking powder. And on the right, that was brand new baking powder. There is definitely a difference in the leavening power of baking powder as it ages. Unflavored gelatin, just mix 1 tablespoon of gelatin in with 3 tablespoons of boiling water to replace 1 egg in a recipe. And you will want to whip this and to just let it have a little bit of time to gel before you add it to the recipe. Xanthan gum, it only takes a tiny bit of xanthan gum to replace an egg in a recipe. You want to mix 1/4 teaspoon xanthan gum with 1/4 cup of hot water and whip it really well, and it turns into this really nice thick gel. Great binder for a recipe. Potato starch is one of my favorite tools to use in recipes. To replace an egg with potato starch, you use 1 tablespoon of potato starch and just mix it with 3 tablespoons of warm water. Potato starch does a fantastic job of kind of softening the ingredients and helping with leavening. Baking soda should be a staple in every prepper pantry. It reacts with acidic foods such as buttermilk, brown sugar, vinegar, lemon juice, and it releases carbon dioxide to provide leavening in recipes. So every prepper pantry needs a really good supply of baking soda. White vinegar can be used to replace an egg by taking 1 teaspoon of baking soda and 1 tablespoon of vinegar and mixing it together. It creates a little chemical reaction and definitely does a great job of leavening in your recipe. Similarly, you can use lemon juice and replace 1 egg with 1 teaspoon of baking soda and 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, and the reaction is even a little bit more intense than it is with the vinegar. 1/4 cup of carbonated water can replace an egg in a recipe if you're looking at helping with leavening. Be careful when it comes to using flavored carbonated waters because it will change the final taste of your recipe. Soy flour, 1 heaping tablespoon of soy flour mixed with 2 tablespoons of water, and you have 1 egg. Chickpea or bean flour can be used to replace eggs in recipe. You'll want to use a more mild flavored bean such as the chickpea or white beans, but just take 3 tablespoons of the bean flour, mix it with 3 tablespoons of water till it's a little bit creamy, and you'll have an egg substitute. 2 tablespoons of arrowroot powder and 3 tablespoons of water can replace 1 egg. This is a great substitute in things like custards and puddings. Soy lecithin powder can be used simply by adding 1 tablespoon to the recipe. You may have to compensate with a little bit of additional water in the recipe, but this one's a really easy fix. 1 tablespoon of tapioca flour mixed with a 1/4 cup of warm water will replace 1 egg in a recipe. Similarly, just a tablespoon of cornstarch, 3 tablespoons of warm water, whip it together, and you have an egg replacement. Now, mayonnaise is only shelf stable until you open it, but until you do open it, it is shelf stable, so I counted it here. 1 egg equals 3 tablespoons of mayonnaise. Milk can be used as an egg substitute when the purpose of the egg in a recipe was to moisten. You can use any form of milk as an egg substitute. You could use rice milk, soy milk, almond milk. Canned milk works great and is shelf stable. And in your long-term storage, hopefully you're going to have some non-fat dry powdered milk, which also you can just reconstitute and use it as an egg replacement. We created this PDF for you so that you would have a quick, ready reference. I encourage you to click on the link and download a copy of this PDF so that you can print it off and keep it with your recipes. That way you'll have it whenever you might need it. Now you know which ingredients you can use to substitute for eggs in a recipe. It's your job to go and stock your prepper pantry and make sure you have what you need when you need it. Check out the providentprepper.org. We have created so many wonderful resources to help you as you prepare to be more self-reliant and take care of your family. Google 3-month supply of food, amazing peace of mind. And remember the post that this video was created off of, Prepper Pantry, 25 shelf-stable egg substitutes for baking. And Prepper Pantry, 200 common baking substitutions to the rescue.
The number of options that you have available to you to replace fresh eggs in your recipes is incredible. Experiment now and decide which of these shelf-stable ingredients should be a part of your prepper pantry.
And now for the question of the day. What successes have you had in using egg substitutions in your recipes? Comment below. And thanks for being part of the solution.